Kuzimba Services.
Hi everyone. My name is France Eunice Namugenyi, Managing Director, Founder, Kuzimba Services, an end-to-end management platform that simplifies and digitizes the entire process of home building and construction.
Okay, all right. Now, all these ladies have actually been part of the hackathon, and they've had experiences. They've had their challenges, but they've also had their benefits. And so we want to hear a testimony from each one of you with your previous experiences with the hackathon, and thereafter, how has it actually shaped your stance in FinTech? I'll start from the extreme right.
Thank you very much. My startup, Cellcare, works at the intersection of finance, health, and technology. And I do not have a technology background. So the Women in FinTech Hackathon was a great place for me to start. As much as most, at the end of the hackathon, you're expected to come up with a product. Without a technology background, this was going to be extremely challenging. So it was great to have people with you who understand technology and can build with you. But what I liked most about this program is that by the end of the program, I knew that technology needs, our technology needs. And it also became extremely easy to lead and work with a technology team. So because now you know, you understand your needs, but you can also communicate to them with ease. I know techies here can know what you have to go through. First of all, from a business background, explain what you want to say at the end of the day, but then having to turn this into what the techie person understands is also quite challenging. So my takeaways from this was that it became very easy to work with and lead a technology team and know our technology needs, and that is how it has been for us.
All right, software engineer, what was your experience?
In the very first hackathon, I was in my year one, COVID-19, when lockdown. So it was, at first, it was really mind-blowing because it was the first of its kind for me to attend. And seeing all the things that we were doing in class theoretically coming into, you know, them like shining light on them and doing them practically. It was so mind-blowing for me. I was like, wow. So getting to pitch and giving this platform to talk about our product, talk about our ideas, falling and giving me another opportunity to rise up again and like, you can go again, you can go again, you can keep going, keep going. So it built my confidence, being able to look into the camera and speak, then I would check. I grew this confidence because of the Women in FinTech Hackathon. In the first round, we did not win. We were among the winning. They told us all the top 5 are all winners. Then in the second one, we came second. And I really thank God. The HiPipo, it became family for me. They became friends that would push me. So Halima, what have you done now? Where are you now? So they really pushed us, networked. I met amazing people that have mentored me through this space, and I'm really grateful for that.
Okay. Patricia, team, you had mentors that walked with you the journey. What they impacted on you, how have you used it to impact on others?
Okay. So first of all, in my opinion, the thing that I gained the most out of the hackathon was the networking opportunities. The people that I was able to interact with, the participants, the knowledge that I gained out of them, and the knowledge that I also shared, it was quite pivotal for me, for my career. It changed the trajectory of my career up until now. I am still, there are so many doors that have opened for me, even up to now, because of just being a part of the hackathon. The exposure that I gained, the skills that I gained, both the soft and the technical skills. I had never pitched a product before. It was the first time I was doing that. And the knowledge that was shared there was so key in preparing me, not just for that time, but even for now. So for me, it was such a pivotal moment, truly changed the trajectory of my career, and it also opened up my mind to the current realities of what we are facing in society. Up until that moment, I had never truly realized how women are actually not represented in tech. It had never crossed my mind. I had taken light of the fact that at my company, we are only 2 software engineers who are female and the rest are men. I had taken light of that. But then being a part of the hackathon opened up my mind to the fact that it's actually a serious issue in society. So how can we get more women involved? How can we get girls inspired? So I actually began to actively mentor, even at work, actively speak about involving women in tech. I've had opportunities to go on TV shows just because of being a part of this hackathon and speak to girls and women and inspire them to, get into the tech ecosystem, because there's a lot that they bring to the table. So for me, it has been incredible, really, really incredible, and I'm so grateful that I was a part of the hackathon. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Mpampe, before it came into existence, I know that there were some roadblocks before you. Share with us those roadblocks and how this whole hackathon engagement actually helped you move those blocks out of your way.
From my experience, I got more confident in my idea, my personality, and my capabilities. Because I remember in most of the sessions, we would have female women mentors addressed as ambassadors, CEOs, project managers. Then I was just this little Muzungu student somewhere. I didn't know what that meant. I looked at that as something big. So from their experiences, their sharing, I actually got to understand that at a certain point, they had the same fears I hold right now. They actually went through the feeling weak, the feeling small, trying to overcome those fears. So that gave me the momentum to keep trying and trying so that I get better in what I do. I'm currently addressed as a project manager, but still,
yes, boss.
I understand the burdens, the sacrifices that have to be made for you to actually push your product. It's not about having a dream. You have to sweat, cry, tears, bleed, so that you make your project work out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now turning to you, the founder of Kuzimba Services, with your participation in the FinTech Hackathon, how has it actually enabled you to transform society, but also deal with the societal challenges presently for women?
Wow, I wonder where I can start from. First of all, I think what makes every business thrive is the foundation of it all. Yeah, so first of all, HiPipo has given us that platform to build the fundamental skills that make any startup, any business, and looking at the society, of course, the business I'm doing right now is male-dominated, purely. Yeah, they don't encourage women. You appear before someone that wants to build a hotel, and they look at you like nuts, eh? You understand? Yeah, but I think HiPipo has given us that resilience, that confidence, to deal with whatever comes with the society. Female or male, you can do it. Yeah, and of course there's that when you overcome that fear, actually, you can beat whatsoever platform, no matter where you go. And because of that, because I've had to understand myself, I've had to understand the capacity that I have within me, and of course it takes someone else to let go of their way and believe in you, believe that you can do it, especially if you are a woman. And because of that, of course, there's so many doors that have come. I mean, overcoming the society right here in Uganda, overcoming the male ego, eh? You know that thing that they come with of, this is our space, what are you doing here? Can you actually do it? And you can actually do it. Yeah, so, yeah, after overcoming that fear in the society, then you can go on the world platform. I've had a chance to be in the Harvard Business School, a school I've longed to go to, I've applied 10 times.
Yeah.
And yeah, the business has given me an opportunity to, pitch my idea, in the world, platform. I've been in the Berlin conference, I've been literally everywhere. So yeah, we can do it as women, so don't give up on your idea.
Which begs the question that we do have the social cultures that are presently before
Yes.
us. You're the second person to mention male dominance. Dear male colleagues, we are sorry about it. It's not intentional. And allow me to just demystify it. When we say male dominance, the reality of the matter is that population-wise, there's more women than men. So the male dominance is in the fact that they get to have opportunities presented to them fast and easily. So opportunity consumption for them is easy. You get to look at something else that easily comes for them, is the fact that in terms of doing the things that they do, they don't have to worry about marriages, giving birth and things like that. So they have more that advantage to them. But the social and cultural norms that are there, they're not going to go away anytime soon. So when it comes to your experience, how have these impacted women financial inclusion?
Okay, looking at that, first of all, we need the talk from the community. We need the entire community to encourage women leaders at that, to take on the several roles, to drive, you know, that thing that women have to be who they have to be. Yeah, so if we are talking about these social and cultural norms, yeah, if all the communities can have that self-drive, you know, that drive to push women to actually stand out, you know, and drive technology, drive, you know, financial institutions. It will be something great because it's going to take an effort of both male and female, yeah? If we can start from the community perspective, I believe those small cells can actually push women to be included into technology and then the financial inclusivity space.
All right.
Yeah.
Victoria, you were smiling a lot when they were talking about these social cultural challenges that we have as women. That means that you come from a place of experience. Share with us that particular one incident and then exactly how that has an impact on women's inclusion in FinTech.
Thank you so much. I love to go back to the fact that we have cell-care works in 3 different industries. And now, if it's technology, it's finance, and it is health. All these industries are male-dominated. So we, us providing a service that deals directly with money is a huge challenge for our customers. Most of our customers are male. And now getting women to sign up for such a program is tricky because they don't even have small things like an identification. Then they don't have the assets, they don't have the cash to pay. It's my husband who pays the bills. So this is a very big challenge for women to be included in services that we provide mainly. But allow me to say something more. Another big challenge is that when you go out in the market as a lady, you're going to get questions like, are you going to manage? How are you going to get people to pay you back? You are a woman, you know, so these social challenges limit us from building the services that we need to build to go out into the society and do this business, because you're already discouraged by the fact that someone is going to rob you, or you feel you're offering the service to people who you're not meeting the people who need the service most. So the women are still not that included into the whole financial space.
Okay, all right. Now to the Mukiras on our panel. Let me start with Muzungu, Mukira, Angela. In some settings, women find it actually difficult and hard to own property, one, and then to also make sure that later on they get to save their incomes from what they're doing. And so take us through some of the income and property issues and actually how they get to affect women financial inclusion.
Okay, I'll start from society and tradition. There is a way society has tailored women's expectations from women, in that women are expected to stay home and take care of kids. Women are expected to receive from their spouses or husbands. So these are like natural blankets within us, in that even if we make it through financially, we shall have those limitations not to tap into our full potentials. For example, like even within my peers in our side social hustles, you be hustling maybe for a gig like for 120, and then you meet this fellow talking to you, Angela, why are you struggling? You find a man who provides that to you. You get, those are natural blankets that stop us from reaching our expectation. Even if you were to tap to 100, you work up to like 70, I should say, yeah.
Now, the impact of what she has said for young people like her is that they will delay to attend to the other social aspects of life, such as getting married, so that they first deal with that, get it out of the way. They know that they're confident, they've done their part, they have achieved their dreams, and then other things can come through, which I shouldn't be the case. As women, we shouldn't be pushed in that corner. HiPipo, what is your perspective on that?
I've seen this with my family as well, where you study, and then they're like, now you're done studying, please get a job. You have your young siblings to take care of. In my mind, I'm thinking, I have this company I have to run. I need to do this, I need to do that. So all the money that you get, not in a bad way, but you have like so many people to take care of. You are the firstborn in the house, your parents are aging, you have a line of siblings to take care of. And so starting to think of owning property, like maybe buying stock in a company or owning land, they'll even ask you. Okay, not like ask you, but then they'll be like, if you add so much onto your life like that, you're going to chase away the men. They'll be scared of you. So please tone down. At least get married first, then work at achieving those together with your husband. So they kind of like limit those cultural norms and expectations, kind of like limit how far you can go, how far you can thrive as a lady, because they scare you off that you're going to, like scare men around you. They won't get married to you. Yes, and also the other thing is family still, how they, like when it comes to inheritances, the ladies are not so much catered for. Like you're thought about after the men in the house have been thought about. It's the man to inherit all this property. They will take care of you. So also that has to really kind of change.
Okay, all right. Turning to Patricia in this case, the issue of societal challenges and problems that we do have are not going to go away tomorrow. However, of course, we do have to find a way to continue encouraging young girls to actually join the space that you are in and other women in the room are in. How do we presently do that?
So, yeah, they are definitely not going to go away because most of these cultural norms are deeply ingrained in our traditions. But there are means by which we can actually combat them. And initiatives like this is one of them, encouraging young girls to actually join the FinTech space. This is one of them. Also, financial literacy for women is another thing. Most women are actually more illiterate than men because, of course, of the issue of girl child education. There is very little value attached to educating a woman in society. In rural areas, you'll find that the girls don't go to school and the men are going to school. So all those issues need to be combated earlier on. How can we educate women? How can we give them the business development support that they need for them to actually set up businesses and earn income, businesses that are actually going to last for long? How can we as fellow women who have gone ahead actually form bodies that can actually mentor the women that are to come after us and actually get them heavily involved in FinTech and educate them? How can
our panelists, I pray that you help us with this, that is the impact of societal challenges deterring young girls from jumping into
the retardation, eh? Yeah, the story is changing, and I'm sure in the next coming 5 or 10 years, I think that story will be erased from the books.
Amen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Angela?
I would say yes, it's still a challenge currently, because yes, currently, I have my own role models. I have access to our TV. I have access to the internet. What about our fellows, our sisters that are in the rural areas, do they know what is happening? Do they actually know that we are being empowered? Are they benefiting from what we are receiving? So I feel we should expand these programs and do more sensitizing, not only within maybe the urban areas. We should also focus to the rural sectors, because that's where women are more constrained. They have no say. They are affected by the societal infringements. Yeah.
Patricia, as a software engineer, you did mention something relatedly, that in your company you were two software engineers in the entire company. And so how is that being used to persuade other women to join technology?
Okay. So we were two, but now I'm the only one. And it's really that strange. Amid is like 20
Wow.
male colleagues. You get the sense that women, what these social and cultural norms have done is to erode the confidence of women in actually taking up these, apparently male-dominated careers. The stereotypes and the narratives have created sort of like a blanket in their minds that I can't achieve this, I can't go after this. So it's all about starting early, starting really, really early from the family unit. A family is being sensitized on the value of a girl child, on educating a girl child, on girls at universities, in high school being mentored and being encouraged to actually follow their desires of joining tech, or taking on STEM courses, taking on engineering, because at the end of the day, these jobs are highly paying, and if women are excluded from them, they are not going to have, good income. They're not going to have assets. They're not going to have, you get. So what we are doing at Kanzu Code, I personally joined Kanzu Code because of a women cohort. There was a women cohort that was put forward and was able to join. But we are consistently looking out for more ladies to join. However, they don't apply. We are constantly hiring, but women are not applying. So that's why I said we need to go back to the root cause, to the smallest unit in society, which is a family, and start from there to eradicate all these norms and all these barriers that have been created in the minds of women. Go back to schools and actually start from there and get these children, when they are still young, and actually begin to remove and erode those narratives that have been created in their minds because of the stereotypes of where we are.
All right. Halima, with your company, what are the percentages of women and men in your company, as you give us your conclusion?
We are 3 women and 2 gentlemen. Yes. So it's highly populated by women, and it is headed by a woman. Yes. My conclusions on this topic is that we need to stop waiting for everyone else to do something about it. We need to be the change that we want to see in our communities. We are being impacted. The ladies in this room, the gentlemen in this room, we are being impacted to go and be champions in our communities through your projects, through your businesses. Be able to empower and impact another lady, your sisters, your siblings, the people in your class, the people in your community. Let's be the change that we want to see. And also to the parents in the room, let's not just introduce the boys, the men in our families to these family businesses and leave the ladies, the girls to stay home and do housework. Let's also take the ladies along to, familiarize them with this company business so that when you're not around one day, also the ladies can be able to run these businesses.
Okay, well, we don't have to wait for that one day. The day is today. That's the good news. Okay, all right. And in conclusion, of course, Victoria, you mentioned something, a twist to your market, that your clients are male more than females. And the females, it's because of the societal challenges. Isn't that persuading them not to actually be consumers of technology?
Thank you so much. Yes, there are so many challenges, like I mentioned. And as a business, we are trying to do a few things about them. I don't want to go so much into what our business does, but let's say for starters, we are trying to make the number of men and women in the company equal. I have very supportive men that I work with. And as much as the stereotypes are still there, in my business, I have been privileged to have people who are very supportive. Then when it comes to the market out there, I guess we have to do something to empower women to take on these services. We can start with ourselves, like my colleagues have been saying. I feel like they've said it all, but yes, we need to have role models who we can look up to. If we have, say, someone who has used a service and can give a testimony about that service, and it is a woman, I feel the other woman will be encouraged to take on a similar service because someone has taken it on and they are using it. So I think we can do something about empowering women through mentorship. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, ladies. A round of applause to them. From their personal experiences, they've told us that even with the present societal challenges, we can still make it and we can still do it. Of course, they've mentioned that the labor gap is still challenging. They've mentioned women's readiness to consume technology. They have mentioned that value addition is your own responsibility. As far as educating yourself, getting yourself into the space where you engage into something like a hackathon as being the reason that we are here, it is your own responsibility to actually do that, and the power of mentorship. So to you that are in this cohort and are graduating today and winning today, please challenge yourself to pass on that knowledge to another young girl and carry another young girl with you in the hand, and you know, that is the best way we're going to be able to change our society. Thank you.
Applause to Regina and the very first panel. Thank you so much, Regina. The beautiful ladies can follow you up for a moment, for memory moments outside. Thank you so much. Yes, keep those hashtags moving on social media. The hashtag Level 1 Project, hashtag Women in FinTech. For the next 10 minutes, let us welcome, that is Rowena Turinawe, the Head of Innovation and Digital Services, Centenary Technology Services. Ladies and gentlemen, she's coming to speak to us on thematic presentation using technology to financially include women. Ladies and gentlemen, Rowena Turinawe.
Good morning. You look so beautiful. The men more than the women more than the men, no offense. So my name is Rowena Turinawe. I had a couple of slides ready to say all kinds of things, but from the theme of what I'm hearing today, we are speaking more to our reality. I don't know, Auntie Betty is calling someone. Whose phone is this? Is it yours? Okay, I hope Auntie Betty didn't have any. Okay, so my name is Rowena. I am, it sounds cliche, but I am a woman in tech. I work with Centenary Technology Services. I head digital innovations and solutions, and I'm very passionate about women in tech. So just to give you a background before I present, my story is very, I think, similar to every other woman in tech. I went to, I think what we would think are good schools, Lohana, Gayaza, schools that you think, you know, I'm going to give my child a good future. And I used to think when I was younger, I thought I was so clever. And I was like, I want to be a lawyer and like argue with men and make money. And I had all these dreams. And then I get to finish my S6, my A-level, and then they give me IT as a course. So IT didn't really make sense. It didn't resonate. I was like, I'm not really feeling this techie thing. I just wanted to either be a lawyer or be a businesswoman. And at that time, my father owned petrol stations. So I started copying. My boss always laughs at this story. Copying DVDs and selling them at the petrol stations. Like I had just moved on from IT. IT is not for girls. But anyway, long story short, I was like, you know, I've got government sponsorship. Let me be grateful. Let me do IT. Years later, here I am in tech. So I go into doing IT. My first job was I worked with Rock Telecom. So in Rock Telecom, I used to work, basically I used to do a man's work. I used to climb poles, splice fiber. I used to wear these hideous shoes, connect customers. I used to work in the knock in the night. I hated it so much. But my journey began, and I think the blessing that I have is it opened my eyes to what it really means to be a woman in tech. So I began my career with Rock, doing majorly male-dominated work. Then I moved into Mantrack. Mantrack, I was now, like Annabelle said, I was under desks, connecting cables, plugging things. I was like a proper techie in a male-dominated space. Of course, I faced a lot of criticism and resistance. And like she said, you just enter a room and people just look up and down and they just decide that you're just not doing the job. But I had to soldier through. I pushed on through. I went to MTN. I managed IT shared service. I moved on to NITA. NITA is the National IT Authority of Uganda. Again, there I was supervising maybe 40 people who were all older than me, and they were men. And so I've always had to push through the challenges of first you're a lady, then you're a bit young. Do you have experience? Do you have a godfather? How did you get here? Are you smart enough for technology? You know, it's like these constant voices that follow us women in the technology space. But after the National IT Authority, I led business transformation for the whole of government. So I had 200 CIOs who I constantly had to ask, report, what are you doing? How are you automating? How are we digitizing? I had big shoes to fill. So my journey has not been a walk in the park. Now I work with Centenary Technology Services. I head innovation and digital solutions. I have been recognized. Why I'm saying this, I'm not saying this just so that you know I've been recognized. I'm saying this because it's for us and it's the world now. It's what's happening. So I've been recognized as one of Uganda's top 40 under 40. Although I was very young, I don't know why they looked me in that 40 category. But also, CIO Africa recognized me as among the top 45 influencers in tech women in Africa. And for me, I share these stories because I want to encourage the next person who dares to believe, who just dares to get your hands dirty, change an engine, fix a computer, dream big, innovate, use AI. You guys, I take borders when I'm late for meetings, and when a border guy stops for fuel, I just want to. So the fact that somebody is thinking about genuine solutions using technology for me is very exciting. The fact that you've had women in the room and you're thinking tech, you're thinking the future, it's an honor. It's an honor for me to be here. It's an honor for me to be part of this discussion today. So now I speak on behalf of Centenary Technology Services. Like Annabelle had mentioned, generally we are Centenary. The group is interested about financial inclusion. How do we make sure that the person at the last mile, that the woman that might not have access to a phone or to a feature phone, or how do we make sure that there's financial inclusion for all our, first of all, our customers, but even now, because the group has gone into a technology space, we are now thinking even outside the bank. How do we make Uganda a place where wherever you are with whatever device you have, you should be able to get advice, you should be able to get access to credit, you should be able to get knowledge, you should know what your options are, but also you should have affordable tools to access financial inclusion. So that's basically our vision as a group. We want to transform the lives of people, of course, as we consider the environment. So we're very pro-green, pro-solar, generally, how do we conserve the environment as we make sure that we are propelling technology, because they go hand in hand, technology and the environment. So that's generally who we are as a group and what we are about. The group has many subsidiaries, I think like Annabelle has said. First, we have banking services at Centenary Bank in Uganda. We have another bank that we recently launched in Malawi, Centenary Bank Malawi. We have an arm that is focused on the foundation. So basically CSR, how are we caring for the community? How are we loving on people? How are we transforming their lives? What are we doing to add value in the bigger picture? We have an arm that focuses on investment management services. So there we look at property development, insurance, basically life insurance, general insurance. So the group is stretching its arms just to make sure that it accomplishes its agenda, which is really about empowering the rural people, empowering the, I don't know if rural is a politically correct word, empowering the less, the disadvantaged. So that is the heart, and that is why I think as I go along, you will see that most of the partners we've engaged are partners that also have a heart for people, a heart for women, a heart for inclusion, a heart for the disadvantaged. So this is basically the scope that we operate in as a group. Technology services is basically the technology arm. So what we do is we advise, we innovate, we give digital solutions, we conduct research. We are generally an arm that is helping the group to achieve its objective. So where should we go? Where is there a need? Where do we need to support government? Where can we advance technology to meet the needs of the regular people? The key focus areas we have now as FinTech are one, education. We are very, very big on digital skilling. We are big on financial skilling. We are big on generally knowledge, because like I began with my story, if I had not studied or if I didn't have an opportunity, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to do all the things that I have done. So we're very big on how do we educate, how do we skill, how do we work with getting the knowledge and getting the tools so that people are able to have an education, to put them in a room. Because the reality is you can have an idea and it's very clever, but some doors will be shut. That's a reality. Some doors will be shut if you have not got some level of education. So we are very big on looking at the education sector, the education space. How do we skill? How do we equip? We are big on health. I think Centenary Group also has a very wide scope. I'll show you in the next slide. So we are big on health. We are looking at the environment, like I mentioned. We're looking at financial inclusion and also the social mission of the Catholic Church. Because Centenary Group is owned by the Catholic Church, so we are also looking at how do we help the parishes, how do we help the members of the church, how do we help the community generally to adapt to technology, make their lives easier, make getting digital services cheaper, how do we improve the quality of their lives? This is what our key focus areas are. Sorry, let me go back. So the key areas that we look at FinTech, I said earlier, as innovation and digital solutions. So we're very focused on FinTech. In the financial space, what technology can we advance? How can we help the businesses? How can we help the women, SMEs? How can we help the mothers who only have access to a feature phone that they're sharing with their husband and the neighbor and the, I don't know, neighbor's neighbor? And how do we come together and think about clever, which is why what HiPipo is doing is really amazing. How do we come together and get solutions for your regular people? How do you innovate? How do we partner with people in this room to come up with digital services? So those are our key focuses. We have FinTech, actual digital services, meaning we develop them, but also we are very keen on partnerships. So we look at how do we partner with the right people, thinking the same thing to get the goal done. Our second arm is advisory. So we provide advisory services to government, to public sectors, to private sector, anybody that needs guidance on how to transform. Because within FinTech, we have a very rich expertise in terms of how to digitize. You know, like when I talked about how I started climbing poles, splicing fiber under tables, you realize that now I'm innovating and coming up with solutions. Because infrastructure is no longer an added advantage. We have APIs open. We have software as a service. We have people who have done the hard work on our behalf. Ours now is to innovate. So we need to advise people, instead of spending billions buying servers, instead of spending billions putting up posts and poles and digging for cables, get a service. Maximize your effort on how are you adding value? How are you making a life better? How are you saving a business money? How are you taking advantage of the technology that has come before us? So what we do is advisory, we do strategic management, and then lastly we do managed services. So on behalf of the group and behalf of all our partners, we give them just what I've said: software as a service, hosting as a service, infrastructure as a service. We go into solutions that save you capital cost, we save you the burden, because most startups don't have the money to start investing heavily in infrastructure or services or servers or data centers. So ours is to give you shared services that make it easier for you to innovate, that make it cheaper for you to innovate, that make it easier for you to shine. So that the next time we're here, we're clapping and saying, oh my God, how many ladies in the room were in CIO Africa magazine? Like, wow, that is why we're here. Because we walked the journey and we want to make it easy for everybody, especially women in the room. I have a personal bias. This is our reach as Centenary Group. I think you can see we are almost everywhere. We have presence in 640 parishes, 219 schools, institutions, 3,388 schools, 446,000 village saving loan associations. So from a demand perspective, you can look at the screen. From a demand perspective, we have a wide reach, and therefore it's easy for us to plug in the solutions that come from your clever minds into what we have as demand. Because
yes. You do have 30 seconds to give us the conclusion.
I can speak even faster, don't worry. Okay, so let me move faster. So this is really our reach. This is why we are here. This is why we're part of the conversation, because we have demand to plug into the solutions that you're giving. How do we connect you to somebody else? How do we make sure that you are able to reach people who have an actual need? So now to focus on this, I won't talk about how many women are excluded. It has been discussed at length. What we do, again, like I mentioned, we are basically now in the process of building platforms, shareable platforms, e-wallets, a farmer's hub, which speaks to the end-to-end life cycle of a farmer from the time he plants, he harvests, he markets, he sells, but also a farmer is a person. So we want a solution that, is he sick? Does he have to pay school fees? Does he need credit? Does he need training? So
and the seconds are up.
Okay,
it was a hackathon.
Let me conclude. So in summary, we are a suitable partner for you now, because one, we have demand, but two, our focus is really on inclusion. It's on bringing solutions that work. We've partnered with the government and UNDP to build a digital transformation roadmap, which is speaking majorly to all the things you've mentioned.
Okay.
So skilling,
so
empowering,
let me have a negotiation with you. Let's first have the second panel discussion, and then you can come back, and we have more insights.
I'm actually done. I think I have communicated.
Yeah.
This is why we're here. This is what we have to offer. We are in support 100%. We are here. We have demand. We have solutions. So we are just glad to be on board.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on board, ladies and gentlemen, to our speaker hackathonist. All right, now we get into a second panel discussion. We're going to be looking at funding and sustainability for women in FinTech startups. Allow me to invite to the front our discussants for this particular discussion. We do have Ms. Marion Chirabo. Ms. Marion Chirabo, you're most welcome. She is the legal associate at Matrix Advocates. She's going to be joined by Ms. Lynn Tukey. Ms. Lynn Tukey is the Communications and PR Manager with Capital Markets Authority in Uganda. And then our third panelist to look into the funding and sustainability of women in FinTech is going to be Ms. Stella Lugarambi. She's the co-founder of Hamway East Africa. We also do have a fourth lady joining this panel. She is Dorothy Kaborozi. And Dorothy Karobozi is a full-stack software engineer, and she's also Women in FinTech Hackathon facilitator. And our fifth discussant is Mercy Angela Nantongo. Mercy Angela is a digital product manager with Village Enterprise. Okay, the rules are very simple. There's a microphone before you. You press the red button, a red light comes on, and you give us introductions of yourself, under what capacity you come onto this panel, and then we'll take it on from there. So I will start from my extreme left.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Stella Lugalambi from Hamway East Africa. Hamway is an agri-tech. I can add Fin because we also do the payments. And we've been around for 10 years this week, and we're working in about 46 districts in Uganda. Thank you.
Thank you, Hamwe. East Africa. Next to Hamwe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Masi Angela Nantongo. I'm a digital product manager with Village Enterprise, which is a non-profit that is working to end extreme poverty in rural Africa. We operate in Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, and Ethiopia, and we heavily leverage digital solutions to get our work done. Thank you.
Madam Facilitator, I hope she was kind to the ones that were in this cohort.
Yes, good morning everyone. All protocol observed. My name's Dorothy Kabarezi Bujingo. I'm a software engineer, very passionate about women in tech, women in fintech, women in AI, everything women. I'm very passionate about it. I love to see so many women here. I work with a company called Efficiency. We build platforms for financial entities like SACCOs, microfinances, and VSLs. And we are operating in Uganda. We have parts of the US and also Nigeria. Yeah.
Thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Lintu Kay. I am the Communications and PR Manager at the Capital Markets Authority of Uganda. What we do, we help develop, regulate, promote the capital markets here in Uganda. So the Capital Markets Authority was established in 1996 by the CMA Act, and I'm very happy to be here. This is not the first time I've been here, and I really look forward to the conversations we have here at HiPipo, especially in regards to the women in fintech. So really passionate.
Glad to have you as an authority. And then finally,
Hi everyone. Yeah, my name is Chirabo Marion Lisa, and I am a legal associate at Matrix Advocates. We're a law firm that is multidisciplinary, and we basically deal with corporate and commercial transactions, registering companies, intellectual property rights, digital and privacy, data protection, everything. Thank you.
well, thank you so much. Now, the reason as to why we do have these ladies before us is because they do have experience in funding and looking into the sustainability of women in fintech startups. When we look at 2021 alone, less than 1% of foreign funding to Africa went to women-led enterprises. And it has, over the course of time, begged questions such as, how then do women-founded fintechs survive? Another question that has come through the pipeline has been, where and how can they actually tap into this funding, getting it? The other question that has come through women in fintech and financing, how do they break even and become sustainable and remain competitive across the bar? What are the examples of those that have gotten funding and to present? Are they sustainable? Have they broken even? Do they still have existence? And where do they stand right now? And then the other question that has come through the pipeline has been, what must be done to address the bottlenecks in accessing funding to enable women in fintech have their startups? And I'll start with Stella. In regards to the fact that with less than 1% foreign funding to Africa is being directed to women in women-led enterprises, what strategies have women-founded fintechs employed to actually survive?
One of the things you have to know is they're not surviving. We have very few women founders staying for 5 years, and it's because the funding is not streamlined and I don't want to say it streamlined for women founders. One of the things I noticed is the requirements. Most women are in business, but they do require small amounts of money. Now, when you find the reason it's only 1% is, I was actually told, I asked for $750,000 at some point, and I was told the limit was $1 million. I was asking for so little. Now, most women in business, in tech or anything, in the beginning years, you only need about $10,000 to $20,000, money that you can work around. We do not have funders that are willing to give the kinds of money women founders need. Let's go back to I've had centenaries working with women. Most women in Nakasero market will need $10 to $15 every day to supply food and the next day. So the kind of funding that is actually available for her is not there, because the big commercial banks are looking at giving you money that you're going to pay back, you're going to do this. But the women business people are not at that level yet. We have to first pull them to a level whereby they will have to have audited books. They will have to have allocation residence. You actually have to have a place of abode. But if I'm cooking food in Nakasero market every day, I'm there, and I need $200 every month for me to be able to get $1,000, I will never be able to access the funding that we are discussing as the 1% funding. That funding is not for the women founders, because we start our companies small. You have 3 employees, and the funding is saying they start from $50,000. You must have 3 years of audited books. So it's not accessible to women at this level. And so that is my explanation why it is still at 1%. Mm-hmm. Can we have people, it's good we have Centenary here, can they be able to get funding that is actually okay for us? Before I get audited books for 3 years, I need to start, right?
Yeah.
How will I audit what when I don't have money to even start? So can we have those kinds of funders? And we are women. If you have money, let's start that kind of association where we can fund people who want $1,000 to $5,000, $10,000. That way next year I can make, audited books cost a whole $300 to make. You're telling me to have for 3 years. So I can't access that funding. And unless that problem is actually addressed, they will never get to 4%.
Okay. Lynn, in your capacity with Capital Markets Authority, I know that even if it's 1%, even that 1% has had to put in some effort and strategy to be able to survive and thrive. What are those that they've actually implemented in order to survive and thrive?
Yes, thank you for that question. Usually, as an authority, one of our core mandates is to make sure that there's development, especially for businesses that are looking to have that sort of sustainability, which is what we're talking about. Now, there is such a thing called the collective investment schemes. Now, these are investment avenues that I believe have not really got to the full potential in terms of maximization by businesses. Because look at this, you have unit funds, for example, that are managed by several fund managers. You have UAP, for example, you have Britam, Zeno, all these are fund managers that allow for companies, allow for individuals to actually invest a certain portion of their money in there. And the thing about the CIS and why they are very different from any other investment avenues is if you put your pool of money and it's managed by these fund managers, it's going to be very easy for you to accumulate a lot of profits. In terms of you even have the accessibility to remove that money today, tomorrow, when you need it. But if it's not doing anything, why is it seated in a bank somewhere? Why don't you invest it in some of these avenues so that as your money is sitting, it's actually making money for you? And that really brings in the part of sustainability. So I really feel most of the businesses are not utilizing these avenues, even if it's just corporate bonds. Say you need some money actually for capital. You can literally tell the public that, you know what, I need you to come, I want some money from you, you know, borrow, so to speak. And then in this period of time, you'll be able to get this money back. And then you get your capital, and then start your business moving.
Okay.
So some of these are really not being utilized. And as the authority, of course, our mandate is to still do investor education. So I'm really happy that I've been able to share at least this with these people, yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Lean. Now, my other question is going to go to Dorothy and to Marcy as well as Marion. I know that there's avenues. However, how do women tap into those avenues? So talk to us about the available avenues for women to actually get into that room where they can secure that funding for their businesses, and how can they navigate through those rooms, because there was a bottleneck that was mentioned, qualification. Certain rooms require that you would have, you know, gotten to a certain level of education to acquire a certain amount of funding or consideration for funding. So let me start with the facilitator.
Unfortunately, funding is not like, we are not fortunate enough to have like the dragon dens and the shark tanks in Uganda. So you realize that as women, we have to create a lot of presence, show up in things like this hackathon, talk about your product, talk about the core value proposition you're trying to present. What are you solving? Yeah, and again, try to show up for, in case there is any innovator programs, if there are any venture capitalists around, try to engage. There are times when, as women, we have our solutions, but we can't speak about them. We are scared. We are scared to talk about them. Or you're even scared to approach the actual person who will help. Then don't downplay people. There are people who can help you, but you may not know because you've not talked to them. So there is an innovation week that happens, I think it's coming up in November. So if we can show up and talk about our startups, that would also be a great avenue.
Okay, thank you so much, Dorothy. Marcy, as a regional player in FinTech, in regards to women actually seeing the avenues, are they seeing the avenues? And when they do so, can they navigate themselves?
Yeah, I think piggybacking off of what Dorothy just said, we need to learn to take advantage of forums like this and rooms like this where there's even a primary focus on women and women-led businesses. These days, there's a lot of funds coming up that are female-focused. There's female founders, and there's also a Nigerian-led firm that was led by Nigerian founders who want to fund other women-led businesses. So I think actively looking for forums like this and funds like that that are doing gender lens investing and impact investing. There are also funds that are actually primarily focused on black-led businesses. So I think these things won't be around forever. We need to take advantage of them now when they're still available and there's still a primary focus on, funding businesses by black people or businesses by African founders or businesses led by women, so that we can get our foot in the door. I think that will go a long way. And to be honest, I think it was during the NSSF High Innovator Program, they were looking for women businesses before they focus on just women, but you'd get 40% to 60% of men applying. So I think we need to be much more aggressive and not just say there's no one funding women, but are we actually applying for the things that don't only fund women, but fund any kind of business? We need to get much more aggressive about that, despite the bias that exists in the industry. Yeah.
Okay, Dorothy, when it comes to that, there's confidence that there's investment in ensuring that there's empowerment of women to come directly into engagement with FinTech, so we can't negate that fact. However, it begs the question then, how can women-led FinTechs transition from startup to sustainability? Dorothy.
Oh,
yes, sorry.
Okay, so how can we transition
Yeah.
from startups to sustainability. So usually you find, I'll give maybe statistics. Uganda is ranked among the top 3, just after Botswana, with the highest women-led businesses. So the main problem that we are having, some startups just don't make it to their second birthday. You find it even gets worse. For the 10th birthday, it's worse. Most people just close. So one of the issues that are highlighted are, you find there's a lot of imitation of products. You're just copying and pasting. In code, we just say Control V, Control C, Control V. So you're imitating, you don't change anything in your product, but is it sustainable? Are you really going to compete against Coca-Cola with your small product? Are you going to compete against the big companies? So find your X factor and speak on it. So again, from startup to sustainability, you find most businesses are not compliant to regulatory rules, or maybe they didn't even register their company. But if you didn't register your company, how are you going to even bid for those upcoming bids that come up from government that will help you to sustain your business? So we need to try to be compliant, learn about the legal requirements, and also register your business as well. And lastly, from startup to sustainability, we need to highlight the fact that if you're trying to hide away from income and taxes, if you're trying to hide away from taxes, you will not even talk about your business in big places, because if they try to reach out to you, you can't really compete on the same level like someone who has registered.
Okay. Marion, in your legal perspective, we want to, draw the relationship and understand the gaps presently for women-led fintechs in startup sustainability to breaking even. What are the bottlenecks from your experience and your engagement with these women that you have realized standing in their way?
Thank you so much. So one thing I've realized is that people are, of course, mostly women, like to deal informally. So the informal sector makes up the biggest economic sector of Uganda. And in that sector, most of the businesses are led by women. We tend to take for granted that we do not need to register, or the government is going to take from us the tax and all those related issues. However, like the panelists said, you cannot compete with people who are registered. You will not be able to compete with businesses that are widely known and they have already built a brand. Yes? You'll only be looked at as a copycat. Yeah, you need to have your own unique product, register it and own it, so that when you are linked to the rest of the world, you are recognized and you can easily be searched and be found on the system. Uganda is moving on to a digital era. Things are not going to be the same as they used to be, where tax collectors come to your doorstep. We are seeing things come up like the OBRS. The OBRS is an initiative of the URSP. People register their companies onto the OBRS system. Everything that we need to find out about companies in Uganda is on the OBRS. So if I am going to give opportunities to someone that I can trust, they are going to find that someone on the OBRS system. So why would you put yourself at risk of competing with bigger initiatives, bigger companies who are already registered and recognized, and yet you're still dealing informally? There's no link. So in order for you to have the requirements, first of all, be able to comply. Get everything you need. Let there be no no barrier for you. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Marion. Ladies and gentlemen, allow us to give a special recognition to our guest of honor at this Women in FinTech Hackathon Summit. We do have Honorable Sebugwao that has joined us from the Ministry of ICT, representing government, and I know that this week they have launched the Digital Transformation Roadmap. I believe it comes at a perfect time for us to actually have these engagements being manifested through government, who's the supervisory body. So as we do continue, Honorable, you found us having a panel discussion on funding and the sustainability of women in FinTech startups, and these ladies are definitely giving us solutions to that. Standing to Stella, in regards to the realities on ground, what targeted measures, what interventions can we actually have and we should consider as essential to overcome the hindrance of accessing funding for women-led fintechs?
There are some few things that we can do. Partnerships have actually helped Amway, because we have partnered with, for example, some hubs. When they ask you for a big balance sheet, the hub has, and it takes you on as an implementing partner. That can work very well. You can't go at it alone. So when you see, for example, a need for a grant for doing something, you can partner with, let's say, Innovation Village. Some of these hubs actually can partner with you, and you become the tech implementing partner. That has helped us to have some cash flow, because we take 10%, they will take 80%. We take 10%, but we are tech, we implement, and in those partnerships we have managed to survive. Another way of doing this, like she said, high innovator, we actually managed to sit down and tell them to reduce on the requirements of an innovator or a software engineer to bring their idea, to reduce on some of the requirements that were needed for women, why women were not actually joining, and sometimes to even help. Like everybody has said, register your company, yeah? Get your tax identification. By the way, also find out some things. Kirabo is here, she can tell you that some of these documents won't cost so much, but if you work with a legal partner, they can tell you what to do, and then you have the other thing of complying. Sometimes you don't even have to pay coin, you have to say zero balance. I found that out, and most people were scared because they say, oh, tax, they will need me to pay. No, if you haven't done any work, you just say zero balance, and they don't have a problem with that. Okay. And if your company stays 3 years, even with zero balance, URA is not going to beat you. But the person funding will know that you have been in practice for what? For 3 years, meaning that now you're ready to grow, okay, and you have been doing this. So there are some, I don't think they are tricks, but there are ways of going about this business and setting yourself to be a legal entity. Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah.
Lynn, the earlier panel brought into light the fact that there's male dominance, and when we looked at that in terms of decision making. In the rooms, the men are more in terms of decision making as far as fund acquiring is concerned. So when it comes to funding, what is the role of men in supporting women-founded and women-led fintechs in accessing funding?
Okay. Men have a very big role to play. I think for me, the mere fact that we are a traditional society, and I'm saying that coming from the point of values. Our values are rooted in, traditional thinking, and therefore, in that aspect, the man is literally the head of the family. So if I am the woman and the man is heading my family, my unit, the one thing I need from that man is support. How can I make sure that the support is given to me? It all comes down to sensitization from the part of the man. That the man has to let, for example, the woman in the home or the women in the home grow. Is it a wife? Is it a daughter? Is it a sister? any aspects of femininity in your home should be supported. As men, I think the most important thing is to show that you're rooting for these women. And the most important aspect really is the aspect of research. There's so much support out there that is being given to women-led businesses, but people do not know. The sensitization is not there, but it also takes a personal initiative. How much are you researching? Every day when you wake up, if you are a woman that has a business, how much are you looking for in terms of support, or are you just seated? I mean, we already talked about technology and the many ways it can literally transform your business, and that's just through a Google search. You know, how many support initiatives have come up in Africa, in Uganda, on a daily basis? I know there are sites that do this. And yeah, it really goes without saying that the man has to be able to have an open mind to say, hey, you can grow and make our family grow. It doesn't have to be, one-sided. So for me, support is really important from all, societies in terms of the man helping the woman grow. It's really big, especially for the African context.
Okay. Dorothy, in regards to support, while we do encourage the men in the room to actually be very supportive in women acquiring this funding, let's talk about how the women in FinTech, especially for opportunities like the hackathon, how are they supporting women to have financial inclusion?
Okay. So, again, women in FinTech, it really highlights like verbatim the words. Women in FinTech. It supports the women who are building FinTech solutions. I've seen a lot of innovation. People have come up with FinTech solutions for women, built by women. I've seen people, I was excited about the hands of women, how they are building a platform for people who are selling OD. Some of us don't like plastic toys. They have amazing crafted plastic toys. Oh, this is not an ad. Yeah, so I've seen amazing ideas for refugees. I've seen amazing ideas for just saving me from the border guy taking away my money. He already has his fuel and it will save my time, and I'll be for that meeting as early as possible. I've seen so many amazing ideas being birthed. And really, again, from what Cleopatra was saying, we're just really panel beating. They already had the ideas. So I was really impressed by the startups that came out from this third Women in Tech hackathon. And again, I can only hope that we'll have a unicorn company at the end of this. At least in Uganda, we need one at least.
Okay.
And from HiPipo, yeah.
All right. Now, turning to Matrix Advocate. The funding is there. The opportunities to empower the women into the spaces of funding is there. It begs the question, are the women now climbing the leadership ladder?
I can strongly say yes. I am a very young woman, but I am inspired just by sitting on this panel. I'm looking at the people that are before me, and I am humbled, because if this is not climbing the ladder, then what is it? If Women FinTech Hackathon is not climbing the ladder, then what is it? We are being inspired. We are already inspired. One thing we need to know about business is that you don't need all the money in the world to make a business work. It's business that makes the money, but not money making the business. So enhance your skill, because the leaders are here before us. They have already created a platform for us. Women FinTech Hackathon is one of them, but there's also women that were listed as the women in technology. And we have Barbara Birungi, who is the innovator and inventor of Women in Technology Uganda. And she is mentoring young ladies to become better women in technology. We have Dr. Okello of Women of Uganda Network. Leadership is onwards and upwards going. So the leaders are there. We have women in URSB who are working in, day out, just to find a better platform for us to be able to put our companies online. Mm-hmm. The ladies that I have seen here today, I am inspired, honestly. I am a lawyer, but every time we are doing transactions at the office, I say, please, be tech literate. That's the least you can do, because where we are going, we are not going to be so physical with our clients. Clients are willing to trust you if you can deal and handle their businesses even remotely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not talking to you physically, but I can trust that you can do for me that I have asked without me being present.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. And finally to Mercy, I beg the current state of women leadership in FinTech. There's a lot of talk on advocacy, and there's a lot of talk on empowerment of women in FinTech. Are we starting to bear some fruit in that regard?
I would say definitely yes. I should just mention, look at the people in the room. It's predominantly women. I'm also glad that the panels we're attending now are predominantly women. And of course, we're also having women-led businesses that are prospering. At home, I think we can all recognize Princess Shamila Chimbugwe of Pivot Payments. She's had a well-documented career in FinTech, and she's still succeeding at her company. In East Africa, we can look at Hilda Mora of Pezesha. She's expanding into the market. She's operating in Uganda, I think Tanzania as well, and of course Kenya, her home base. So I think we're bearing fruits. The companies that I've seen at the hackathon and the quality of work that they're doing is showing that there is also young people climbing up the ladder. And I think having that emphasis on having women in your company and progressing through the ranks. So even if the company is not women-led, how do we make sure that we empower the women within our organizations to rise through even beyond the traditional roles that women hold, things like marketing? How do we get them to do, CTO jobs so that we can have women growing through the ranks in technology-based roles?
Okay.
There's definitely progress happening, and I'm excited for the future, really.
All right. Well, the future is here, and it's in this room, so clap for yourselves. And as the previous speaker did say, an economy that includes everyone does benefit everyone. So thank you so much to our dear panelists for your words of insight in funding and sustainability of women in FinTech startups. You may take your leave to the photo booth and have a moment of photos. Our third panel discussion is going to be led by Rita, and it's going to be looking at women in FinTech, the strategies of success, because now we have gotten over the fact that societal challenges are there, we can't erase them, but we also do have opportunities of funding. So Rita, what are the strategies for success?
Thank you so much, Regina. We realize sometimes I'm not patient. Okay, so far so good? So far so good, yes? My name is Rita Kawanyoro, those of you just came in. And also, for a very great pleasure to have OHT Honorable Minister, Joyce Nabugwawo. You're very welcome, Mama. We're now going into a very third panel. We have had a lot of men discussion, at least the panels that have been here. The word men has not been, has not been excluded, right? I don't know how often it will appear into this one. But we have had a lot of knowledge around AI, the machine learning, about blockchain. In case you've not heard about it, it's time to Google. But I know in this room, really you must have heard about such emerging technologies. So well, we're going to be looking at the future of women in FinTech and strategies for success. and how emerging technologies, like I just mentioned, the AI, that financial intelligence, the machine learning, blockchain could impact the future of women in FinTech, and what are the must-have in regards to skills for women in FinTech to help themselves navigate the male-dominated industry. Is it really a well-dominated industry? We're yet to find out. I see majority are women here, but we're yet to find out that. Ladies and gentlemen, applause to the panelists coming on stage to join me to discuss this very initiative. Olga Naiga, she's a strategic business planning expert. Applause for Olga as she's joining the podium. We've got Cleopatra Kanyunyuzi, the co-founder Club Tangaza and Women in FinTech Hackathon facilitator. Ladies and gentlemen, Cleopatra. Shaila Nakanja, she's the Chief Women Officer, HiPipo. Flavia Elnoa Kasenge, the Chief Operations Officer, Easy Money. And lastly, Winfred Nandaula, the Regional Programs Director, Tawaza Digital Varieties. I almost said, oh, what a pleasure for me to have a seat next to the ladies. I'll be standing. So you will be speaking closer to your microphone, ladies, so that we can capture more of the sound. And also, like I said earlier, I'm not so patient with time. Like I always keep time so much. We've got strictly not more than 25 minutes or 20 to discuss what we have, okay? I'll kickstart it with all of us at least having an introduction for ourselves and what we do. From Cleo.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Protocol observed. My name is Cleopatra Kanyunyuzi, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Club Tangaza. Club Tangaza is a tech skilling platform that is bridging the gap in software engineering education and what the industry demands. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
My
afternoon.
name is Winfred Nandaula. My name is Winfred Nandaula. I am the Regional Programs Director for Tawaza Digital Varieties. We offer digital financial services for women and youth in the informal sector, that is savings, credit, and insurance, and I'm happy to be here this afternoon.
Hello, everyone. I am Flavia Eleanor Kasenge, a FinTech dinosaur. You know, dinosaurs were in existence for a while, but are now very rare to find, just like us women in leadership. I have been at this since I was since teenage, and yeah, I live and breathe FinTech.
Wow.
Hello, everybody. My name is Olga Naiga. I don't know how to go on after hearing her session, but I'm a business and investment analyst with HiPipo Lab, and HiPipo Lab is an incubation and accelerator where we work with the different startups and fintechs, and I'm very, very passionate about growing the different strategies and businesses, especially businesses led by young people, more so women, because why not? Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sheila Nankanja Lubwama, and whilst I wear many hats, my most proud hat is that I'm a Chief Diversity Officer with HiPipo. My role is to secure investments and funding from international markets. I've got a background in business analysis and development for small startups wanting to gain market entry in international market sectors. And I'm also a Cloudforce consultant for a company called Salesforce, which is a CRM management for automation and implementation for business processes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sheila. I saw when you were the first approach to the microphone, they're like, am I talking so loud? That's what we want exactly, okay? Keep the other one. Let us hear your sound, yes. Thank you so much. So we go straight to, I mentioned earlier on about the emerging technologies of the AI, the machine learning, the blockchain, Cleo and Sheila, then Olga. How do you think this will shape the future landscape for the women in FinTech? Sheila.
Why, thank you. I think it will create opportunities not only from an educational perspective.
You could please be closer if you don't mind.
Okay, much better. I think it will not only create initiative programs through educational platforms, but it has also created networking platforms. I know myself, having entered into the tech space, I'm also a product of an incubation program. You know, I worked with a women's FinTech company in London that was part of initiating a program of getting mothers back into work through technology. So I believe in education, and FinTech has been a platform that has offered a broader perspective of learning. There's so many platforms now to learn within that FinTech space.
Thank you so much, Sheila. Let me cross to Cleo here. What do you think of how this is shaping the landscape for the women in FinTech?
Thank you, Rita. That's a good question. Now, I'm going to speak from the innovator's perspective. An innovator who is designing a product, a FinTech product, with the last customer in mind. AI and machine learning technologies can be used to analyze large volumes of data, and this data should be data about how women interact with financial products. Okay? You can use that data or the results from that data analysis to design personalized FinTech products, like, for example, saving products, investment products, yeah, according to that information that you've gathered. So very personalized and customized product development that results from this process of data analysis using the advanced AI and machine learning technologies. Also, Rita, there are career opportunities in the AI and ML world. Ladies here, you have the young ladies who are at university, okay? This is still an area that you can embark on. Look out for scholarships, if any. Go ahead and study. Go to MIT. Do the free courses on Coursera. There are so many opportunities out there, and they are well-paying jobs.
Okay.
Don't sleep on it.
Thank you so much, Cleo. Let's hear from Olga. What's your take on that shaping the future for women in FinTech?
I do believe that the new technologies, AI, blockchain, machine learning, are creating a path in which we're having inclusion for the women, because now we're leveling the playing field. So what the men could previously do in the male-dominated field is now easily accessible and done by the women as well. So there's financial inclusion as well as access to the financial services. Having a wallet, using your phone, or even the access via USSD makes a huge difference to your being on the financial inclusion pathway. And even the digital rails that are available, and so many things were mentioned by my friends from Centenary Foundation, yeah, are able to make that access, that inclusion for women much better. And I honestly applaud that. The new technologies are doing wonders.
Thank you so much. Of late, I've met ChatGTP, my friend. There's a lot of conversation I'm having with it when I have no sleep. I just go to ChatGTP and we are chatting. we will get to see how the dangers of that, like someone else knowing all of that about me, I don't know that person. But we cross to Winfred and Flavia, because we have mentioned this over and over, it's a male-dominated industry. I wonder if there are skills for women you could give them to us so that we can now undertake this industry for ourselves. How do we get to that? Share with us if there are any essential skills in this industry that women in FinTech could actually navigate and thrive within the traditionally male-dominated, industry, like we say. Let me go with Winfred first.
The skills that are required and will ease the navigation in this male-dominated space is both technical and non-technical. Technical is, I would recommend that don't be afraid, like Cleo has said, don't be afraid to go and get all these new courses done. Don't be afraid of AI, machine learning, and all these free courses, and climb the ladder in this space. And for the non-technical side, you need to, for example, there was a lot of mentorship going on during the hackathon.
To the ground and innovate the Kaizen way. And then I also think to the ground and innovate the Kaizen way. And then I also think we need to have resilience. We must develop and cultivate the, resilience. We must be resilient. We must be able to, be able to face what is happening in this dynamic world of FinTech. There's so many problems that are coming up and challenges. As we're already saying, it's a male-dominated industry. So if we don't have resilience, we are going to be pushed out. We need to be able to face it in a tough way and continue going no matter what.
Thank you so much, Flavia. When you were mentioning the Japanese have a saying, I was waiting to hear that in Japanese, but thank you so much for that. About the skilling still, thank you so much, ladies. You're telling us about the resilience, but about conquering in that ladder. Is there somehow a way how we need to fight for that space? Is there a way? I see Sheila shaking your head. Do you have something to contribute there?
I believe one of the ways is networking. Networking is such a powerful tool. The ability to speak to people openly, sharing ideas, creating communities within each other. I mean, yesterday was such a wonderful sight to see how far everybody has come. But there was also this natural joy for everybody rooting each other on. And I would like to employ that doesn't stop here. It should carry on, because you might have a problem and somebody within the same cohort could have that resolved for you. There is power in sharing information. Information should not just be kept to yourself. Because when you share, you adapt to ideas. I also like the idea of resilience, because with resilience, you must also learn to be adaptable. Often in business, we find rigidity can cause stagnation. One should learn to identify issues and almost analyze on how to adapt around issues, learn how to overcome. Criticism for me is such a great thing, because it's a learning tool. It forces me to look at something in a different way. So don't stop at the first hurdle. If somebody does not get your idea, go back and take on the questions they've asked you. Think of it from the perspective that they were looking at it, because it forces you to look at the bigger picture. And often when you look at the bigger picture, you find a much broader answer. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the word there is around networking. How do you share? What extra mail do you take for you to network and you enter into that ladder very well? So right now we cross to really what initiatives and support systems that can be implemented to foster the inclusion and then advancement of women in the rapid evolving fields like the AI, as we mentioned, then the e-learning and the blockchain for the women in FinTech. I'll pose this to Sheila and then Chloe. Sheila, you could go first. Sheila, yes. You just spoke. Let me get to Olga. Olga.
Oh, okay. I believe some of the initiatives
is we actually start really young. Things like STEM education. If you grow up in an environment where technology is being enforced very early on, because psychology says that between the ages of 0 to 6, I believe, a child can learn up to 7 languages. Imagine they're adding also programming languages at that point. Yeah, we are improving the nation even before then. So if we include STEM as early as then, by the time you get to university, the tech natives are actually doing much more. They are creating code in their sleep, honestly. So there's that aspect, but then also I do believe, like what you said, of networking and mentorship. Yeah, if you are in a room where you're able to talk to different like-minded women and men, honestly, because at some point, if we dominate the world, then we're going to leave our male counterparts behind. That wouldn't be fair to anybody, and honestly. So if we do good, you network, you put your best foot forward. Every time you're stepping into a room, you come in and mention what you're talking about and be willing to listen. And one of the things I've learned is, yes, criticism, but also failure teaches us so much more than success ever does. Because with failure, you know how not to do things. With success, sometimes it could be a fluke, and nobody's willing to accept that it could have been a fluke.
Okay.
But when you do fail, you learn something. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I cross to Cleo to share with us what are the initiatives and support that we can take up on this.
Thank you, Rita. That's a good question. In addition to what my fellow panelists have already stated, mine goes to the HRs, okay? Can we please hire more females for these roles?
Okay, yeah. I see the need for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the faster ways if we get women in those roles where they can be able to make decisions at high level. It's one of the ways that we shall start getting more impact. And then everybody at your workplace, can you please create a safe space where the young girls, where women can freely speak to you about the challenges that they're facing when it comes to technology. It could be that code is hard to understand. It could be that they are intimidated by their male counterparts. It could be microaggression at work, where the bosses think they are not good enough because they are female. Okay? Yeah.
Okay,
so
thank you. Thank you so much, Cleo. Let's cross to Sheila. You have less than 1.5 minutes to express that.
Thank you. I'm really honored, and I completely agree with what you've just said. First and foremost, mentorship. It's so important. I mean, there is never a level where you cannot get mentored. We learn at new stages each time, and so we shouldn't think that, you know, when you're at the beginning, it's the only stage you get to get mentored. You get to get mentored at every level as you go up, because somebody